So today we're going to try and unpack a story that sits at this really dark intersection of wealth, power, and, well, horrific crime. It's a saga of secrets, of global influence, and a long, painful fight for justice that has touched some of the world's most powerful people. This is the story of Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to peel back the layers of one of the most disturbing scandals of our time. The Epstein Files. What does that even mean? Well, it refers to this absolute mountain of evidence. We're talking flight logs, photos, documents that exposed a massive criminal enterprise that was hiding in plain sight.
To really get this whole thing, you have to start at its bizarre and frankly chilling epicenter, a private Caribbean island. This place was basically the headquarters for Epstein's entire operation.
On the surface, it looked like a luxury resort, right? It had private docks, a cinema, a library. It was literally a playground for the global elite. But behind that whole facade of parties and lavish vacations, it was actually a meticulously designed trap.
You know, when investigators finally got on the island, the details they uncovered, it paints a picture of something far more sinister than a vacation spot. The purpose of these suspected underground tunnels never confirmed, which only fueled all kinds of speculation. And cameras monitoring every single corner, that screams blackmail. The discovery of unusual medicines just made the whole mystery even deeper.
So, who was the man behind this island? How did Jeffrey Epstein, a guy from a pretty modest background, somehow accumulate so much wealth and power that he could operate with total impunity for decades? His journey from a classroom to the highest echelons of finance was honestly astonishingly fast. He leveraged his connection to Leslie Wexner, the owner of Victoria's Secret, to manage billions of dollars, making huge commissions. And that financial success, that became the foundation for the incredibly powerful network he would build among the world's elite.
Just think about that number for a second. 75,000 acres. And that was just his private ranch in New Mexico. This staggering wealth, it wasn't just about luxury. It was about creating an entire world where he was insulated from any kind of scrutiny, a world that played by his own set of rules, where his crimes could stay hidden.
But here's the thing you absolutely have to understand. Epstein's power wasn't just his money. It was his unparalleled access to the world's most influential people. His network, that was his shield.
And this just gives you a small taste of how far that network reached. The flight logs from his private jet, which was infamously nicknamed the Lolita Express, it reads like a who's who of global power, spanning politics, royalty, business, you name it.
And Ghislaine Maxwell, she was the key that unlocked access to vulnerable victims. She used her high social standing and charm to lure young girls with these false promises of jobs and money. She wasn't just an accomplice, she's been described as the architect of the whole trafficking network. And this gets to one of the biggest unanswered questions of the entire scandal. While no official client list has ever been confirmed, the FBI's discovery of this material just fueled this persistent theory that blackmail was Epstein's ultimate tool, his way of maintaining power and ensuring the silence of all his powerful friends.
You know, for decades, Epstein seemed completely untouchable. So how did the walls finally start to close in? Well, it wasn't one single event. It was a slow, determined fight led by the very people he had victimized.
The journey to justice was absolutely a marathon, not a sprint. It started with the unbelievable courage of one survivor, Courtney Wild, and was carried forward by others like Virginia Giuffre, who just kept challenging the system. But it really took the explosive investigative journalism of Julie K. Brown to finally ignite the public fury that made Epstein impossible to ignore any longer.
And this slide right here starkly illustrates what many people call a deep perversion of justice. The 2008 deal was a total slap on the wrist, secretly negotiated, and it shielded his entire network from investigation. It was only after a decade of relentless public pressure that he finally faced real, actual consequences.
So, just as it seemed the world was finally about to get some answers, just as the trial was looming and a lot of powerful people were probably getting very nervous, the story took its most shocking and controversial turn yet.
On August 10, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his cell in one of the most secure jails in New York. The official cause of death was ruled a suicide, but the circumstances surrounding it, well, they immediately sparked this global firestorm of suspicion. And these facts, which come straight from the official reports, they're what fueled this widespread belief that Epstein didn't kill himself. He was silenced. Both security cameras outside his cell reportedly malfunctioned. The 2 guards on duty, they fell asleep, and he had been taken off suicide watch shortly before he died. The theory persists that he just knew too much, and his death would ensure the secrets of the world's elite were buried with him forever.
Now, even though Epstein escaped his final trial, there has been some measure of accountability. As you can see here, a huge part of the aftermath was the conviction of his chief accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. A compensation fund was also set up for his victims, and powerful figures like Prince Andrew were forced to retreat from public life after settling lawsuits.
But the story is far from over. Over 1 million. That's the estimated number of pages in the so-called Epstein Files that are still sealed. What started with just a few thousand pages being released has revealed this massive trove of documents that have yet to see the light of day.
This whole case proved that extreme wealth and power can hide unimaginable crimes. But, it also showed the incredible power of survivors who just refused to be silenced. The story of Jeffrey Epstein is this chilling reminder of what can fester in the shadows. And it leaves us with one final, urgent question. What happens when the rest of the truth comes out?